colonization phase, so really there was a very huge disturbance. And of course, normally it takes a bit of time for the soil, for the plot to settle, for all the nutrients to mix, to be also to be available for the plants, because when you make a big disturbance, the soil can be, we mix the rhizomes, and so it's important that all the macrobiological life that is present in the soil basically needs to reconnect everything. Because when you go in a meadow where it's not been touched, there is a lot of connection, a lot of microorganisms that they have their own house basically, and they are working together, especially also in the forest. As we said before, there is more like a mycorrhizal, so more like a fungal network, how the plants can communicate with each other, share nutrients, share water, helping a plant that is a bit maybe has a disease, so they create their own balance and they create a macroorganism. And that's the same we want to do, to create a macroorganism. So something that is not just one plant growing alone, but it's an entire thing. So that the sum of the parts is bigger than
its elements.
Yeah, like 1 + 1 equal 3. So yeah, that's what we are trying to do. Here you can see a little bit what could seem the final stage. So a very dense system. The plants in color. So we have green, orange, and yellow, and these are our focus plants. And yeah. So here we don't, as I was saying before, we don't have the emergent layer because the emergent is already present with the forest trees. And also because more north you go, more you have to be aware of the sunlight. So for example, if this was a design on Mediterranean area, I would definitely put some bigger trees, as we saw here, about 20% density, that are making some shade midday in the summer. And so it's helping, and also that I can prune according to my needs. So for example, the apple, for example, or the fruit trees in general, they want a lot of sunlight during the flowering, but they can support, especially in Italy or let's say Southern Europe, they can support more shade. Here we are a bit in between. This is not extremely north, but for sure, I don't know if you're familiar with the hardiness zones, the climatic zones. Here it's a bit colder and the season is shorter. So it's good that the fruit trees really can maximize the photosynthesis, and also some species that we put, like apricot, really they need a lot of sun in order to produce. So we have the high that are 2 apricots and 2 almonds. So we have two, and we are gonna put them in the line that is more, so you see north is down there, that means the north is there. So we are basically watching from like if you are like this, and we're watching that plot from here. So the north should be there. So on the south, this is south basically, we're gonna put apricots and almonds because they need more sunlight. And on the line that is more towards the forest, we're gonna put apple and persimmon. Do you know this persimmon? It's the one that is making the like very big fruits, orange,
Kaki.
that ripe in the autumn.
Oh.
Kaki?
Pomelo?
No.
Ah, okay.
Rodya? Or kaki?
Kaki.
Ah, kaki. Okay.
And these are our high layer. Then we have a medium layer, fig. That is the red one. We have the fig and the pawpaw, 3 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we have the low layer that are mostly bushes. So currant, gooseberry, ascapberry, jostaberry, loganberry, raspberry. Some of them have not arrived yet, but maybe will be inserted later. And then, so these are the plants that are gonna produce. And also here there is kind of succession. So the smaller ones, the low layer, are the ones that will produce sooner. So in 1 or 2 years the berries are already producing. Then we will have the fig that is also growing quite fast. And then the last one would be the long-term ones would be the apple, persimmon, almond, and apricot. And yeah, so it's already quite a dense system. This is of course at their maximum growth. So when we put them now, the trees are, you see here is the 0, this is 1, 2, 1 meter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 10 meters between the fruit trees, so they're not that close. But then in between you have a medium, and then in between again you have a low layer. And then what we're gonna do to cover the soil as quickly as possible, we're gonna use we're gonna put a lot of plants that are all the layers, and also all the what we saw before, like the placenta, the secondary, and climax. And the plants will be as let's say shrubs and trees, and that we can easily propagate from around here. Elderberry, mulberry, willow, and I don't know if we can find also white plum.
Yeah.
And the biomass and medicinal will be that are mostly like this, so small bushes, but they also create like a ground cover. Is comfrey. I don't know if you're. Tell me if you're not familiar with one of these plants, but also we're gonna see them and we're gonna search for them. But comfrey, that is a very good plant that is found here wild, has a lot of medicinal properties, and it's a ground cover and spreading very easily. It's down there, especially in the wet part, and is a dynamic accumulator. It means that is taking a lot of nutrients from the soil and storing it in their leaves. And this is a plant that is used a lot in forest garden, syntropic system, because when you cut it, you can leave it there, like chop and drop it in the ground, and this is nurturing the plant a lot, the other plants, and it will sprout back continuously. Fennel is the white fennel that we saw. I think there was one down there in the camping. I don't know if there are around here. Horseradish, burdock, lavender, lungwort, majoranum, oregano, rosemary, sage, and thyme. So these are all aromatic plants. So how did we come up with this design? Basically, normally when right now I'm working more as a farmer, but my previous work was really permaculture designer. So in this case, let's say that Dupa Gard was kind of the client that you have to ask what is their needs. So of course, normally you start trying to understand which are the focus plants, what are the focus. And then, as you can see, the focus is almost as the distance that you can find in the conventional systems. Of course, as we were saying before, here you can find a lot of information regarding the climate, the geography. So we were observing first of all, which growing zone it is. It is a 6B. For example, where I am between 8 and 9. 9, you can already have lemons, for example. 8 is generally temperate, like Italy, northern Italy, southern France, but also all the coast of France or the coast of England. And
it's from 1 to 10.
Yeah, you can write hardiness zones Europe, and you will see them up with all the different zones. So every country, of course, can have many different zones. Here we are in zone 6B. So 6B is a bit warmer than 6A, so it's towards 7. But still, for example, it's difficult for here to grow already peach, and it was telling me that since maybe we are on the north slope, it's a bit more difficult. And
So that's a more hardy variety you selected here. I have a different one and it's not doing well on a similar slope.
another climate classification is the Copenhagen climate classification that is also very useful to know. And again, you can Google it, and it's another classification that is a bit more specific, and that is Copen class DFB, and this is a cold without dry season but with warm summer. So these are other parameters that are used to classify the climates. These are information that are used when you need to design, but also if you have a garden and you need to try to understand, because once you know your hardiness zone, then you can know also if you want to buy a plant, you just see if this plant is available for that hardiness zone, and maybe you plant it down and you saw you have a lower hardiness zone, so you know that it's more likely that it's gonna die when it's freeze. But there are always exceptions because there are also other parameters like the exposition. So also in this in every property there are always a lot of microclimates. That's why it's important to observe and see, and maybe you have a spot where you see that, for example, in where I grew up, there is a side of the hill where you see that naturally they grow cactus because it's very well exposed in the south. It's very rocky, and there you can have cactus. That is a really Mediterranean, more like Sicily and all this kind of stuff. I right now work in Lake Garda, that is in the north of Italy, and you can have lemon only on the east slope. If you put them on the west, they are going to And yeah, the soil type, I didn't go very deep into that, but yeah, mostly clay. The elevation, which kind of slope. So this was the slope that was originally the slope of the meadow. Of course, right now we are almost flat. Latitude, longitude, and yeah, more or less these are this information. And what we're gonna add here, and that has already been added, are the cover crops. That is the clover that has been seeded by. And maybe when it will be available, there could be also a rotation. If we see that we want to enrich the pasture, we could, for example, till it superficially, or just before the rain, we could seed some buckwheat, or yeah, maybe more in the spring, broad beans. I don't know if broad beans, fava. I don't know if I mean. It's like a bean that you normally, it's become quite big, that you can eat also raw. In Italy it's quite common. And as a cash crop we will grow also potatoes. So as you can see, there is a mix of all the different type of plants. So let's say that the circles here, they represent the biomass. The green one represents more like the medicinal plants. And yeah, also here in the middle, the blue will be the potato, and yeah, other cover crops here. So let's hope that the result will be like this very soon. Everything is clear?
I didn't know persimmon was native. Does it grow in Romania? Persimmon? It grows here in Romania?
Yeah, so the ones I got, some of the more exotic things I got from the botanical garden in Cluj, from a guy there, and they tried it, and persimmon definitely grows, and the what do you call it?
Pawpaw?
No, yeah, pawpaw. It's pretty hardy. It grows, just that people don't know it. I think that's the only. It's a fruit. I think it's not so common because it goes bad very quickly, right?
It's native from North America, and also persimmon is from. I mean, you have the variety from America, but it grows in Northern America, so it's very good for this climate. And also, both persimmon and pawpaws are good. good.
And the fig, I tried with one up there, it didn't work, but this also, again, he said it's a more hardy one, it worked in Cluj, so let's see.
My mom has a fig and it works.
And it
well.
fruits also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Married vine, the married, is it vine? Grape
Yeah.
vine. Yeah. And so you have the vine, the grapevine that is climbing on the mulberries. And the mulberries is very good because it resists very well to pruning. So you kept just pruning it, and you could have the grape, of course. Then you could have the mulberries, and then you could even use the leaves of the mulberry if you have animals. They are very good fodder. The leaves are very good for the animals, and even you can make the silk. You know the worm?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They eat the mulberry leaves. So in the past it was very common to have this more economies, more functions for every system to produce more stuff. And so yeah, we will do the same. Of course, there are trees that are also the mulberry can grow quite big. The willow as well. I mean, there are different kinds of willows. This one, they look a bit more like shrubby. I don't think they get. Some willows can become also very big.
Yeah. Just they
Bigger
break
than that
quickly.
even,
Yeah.
if you let them be.
Of course, we don't want to become that big. So the aim is to keep pruning them, because those three are all plants that are very resistant to pruning. And so the same as comfrey, and the aromatic, they are a bit more slow, but let's say that they enlarge themselves a lot, so they are used more for ground cover. Once the system gets more mature, so there will be more shade. These will die naturally because these plants cannot stay in the shade. While for example we are putting also comfrey that might stay at the beginning below this, but when this will die and we will have more shade, the comfrey will be the ground cover, because the comfrey, if you will see that it's mostly down there and it grows very well in the shade. And yeah, so there was some work of course, studying the land, some work of observation, what is growing here, and then trying to putting together all these different dimensions that we mentioned. So 3D dimensions, length, wide, and height, and also the fourth dimension, that is time. So keeping into consideration how the system we're gonna evolve in time. And I think these plants are on.
There was a bird, but it was very close to us. Didn't care.
I think these plants are all with the neutral wild rootstock, right? From seed.
The pawpaw, we have 2 on grafted, and the rest is from seed.
But they are grafted on anyway some wild variety. Yes.
I mean, I don't know.
But it's not none of the commercial like laboratory
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, they're gonna get quite big, all these plants. So my idea now, if there are not other questions or comments or concerns, the idea was to go in the field. Andy has sown the cover crop and has put manure, filling as we said in the morning. So we're gonna try to remove the straw that has now the function to keep the soil covered, not to dry up, not to become like stone, because the clay, when it's exposed to the sun, can become very hard. We try to make to take half from one side of the straw and half on the other side, and to free the middle so we can plant. And then when we're gonna plant, basically we will have two like these 2 lines of straw or biomass that we're gonna put very close to the trees. So as we saw in the morning, one of the first thing I did, something like that. So the row would look like this. We would put the trees in the middle. All the different trees. This would be all straw. Here, I don't know if the cover crop was sown also on the lines or on the.
No.
Okay. So we will try to colonize every. If you see it from vertical, we want to have everything covered eventually. And I think we will see if we manage to take the topinambur. But for example, the topinambur. So if this is the south, so up slope. So this is north. We are gonna, as it's shown here, we are gonna put the biomass more on the north side. So we could put here, for example, on the edge of the straw, we can put the topinambur that will grow like this. Then tomorrow we'll explain that there are also other ways to. I don't know if you know topinambur. Anybody? Yeah. Jerusalem artichoke. It's like a potato that you put in the ground and it sprouts and becomes very big. Normally it grows well to close to water sources, and it's similar to sunflower. Then it makes a good a yellow flower. But anyway, it's a good biomass species. And here on the south slope we will have our cash crop, and we will put the potatoes just below the straw. Maybe just placed on the ground. I don't know if you had the other idea, but
No.
Or maybe just a little bit in the ground, and then so the potatoes will sprout from the straw like this.
Yeah, that's what I did before, just on the ground, some straw on top. It's pretty easy.
And so this straw here, at least at the beginning, it's important to provide some protection to the small plants, because we will put cuttings that they don't have roots, so they need some humidity and some shade to root. And other plants are with the roots. Yeah, so I think if today we can take down all the plants and start placing the focus plants and maybe put them in the ground, that's already a great achievement.
And you also want to start collecting those we don't have yet?
I think tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Yeah, I also think that. Yeah. Okay.
I think today we try to put in the ground what we have.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we're gonna increase it. Also because right now the soil is, it's quite loose here. So even if we put, if we can even take big cuttings, and we will stick them in the ground. Even could be even 1 meter, 1.5 meters in the ground. If we take big cuttings, 2/3 of their length. So there is more chance for them to root. And then you just put the sticks in the ground, and then they will start rooting.
Do you hear the bees?
Crazy.
Right?
Busy bees.
Busy.
Ready for this?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Do you want to give a small update? How's it
Hello.
going? What are we doing here?
It's going very well. We are planting a lot of plants, as you can see. We started from the focus plant, placing them in the right positions, and now we are slowly adding also the aromatic plants that would create a cover crop, like a ground cover. And yeah, there will be also a lot of cuttings going on tomorrow. The focus plants are fruit trees, shrubs, and mostly berries, berry bushes. And then we will take cuttings as support species all around the forest. And there will be even potatoes as production crop.
Very nice. Looks great already.
Thank you. We needed to, as we showed before, the aerial part always has to be in balance with the roots. So if we broke the roots, we take out also some aerial parts. Otherwise, the roots that has now will not be able to sustain all the aerial part. So I just cut some parts. And with the current, this is not the best moment for doing it, because anyway it would need a bit of maybe it's more like in the spring. Before it starts growing, because you see this is the new growth from this year, this green part. But anyway, in general, when we do a cutting, it's good to remove everything except for a couple of leaves at the top. So this with the ribes, with the current, we normally do, it's called hardwood cuttings. This is hardwood. And this part is softwood.
The one which is green.
Yeah, there could be also semi-ripe, that is this part in between. And for example, with the elderberry, we would take semi-ripe cutting with a heel. It means that we will take this part, this whole part, but with a little heel of the hardwood. It's like the heel.
Yes.
And so you remove everything, and you can even cut the leaves, the main leaves, like this. And then this one can be, it grows quite well in the shade, so we can put it behind a fruit tree that we have. And we try to stick it in the ground as deep as possible, like this. And that's it, and then we need to water it, and if we are lucky, it's gonna grow.
Make a prayer.
Let's say that this one is a plant that normally propagates well by cutting, but this is not the best moment to do it. And if I have two, I do like this. I cut the bigger one out. You can remove all the things. You can also do like this. Of course, the fruits need to go because they require a lot of effort from the plant.
And the better way to do it would be to put them in pots in the shade and water them?
Right
or?
now, yes.
Yeah.
But maybe you have a very rainy June, and then,
It's better
or maybe you
to-
can water them. So, for example, this one we can put it behind the almond.
Se consume cât mai puțin energie. Și nu dă nevoie.
But still, why do you
Pentru că
plant it
neavând
next to
rădăcină,
another
nu
one?
poate trage din
I
sol
forgot.
nimic acasă că nu
In this case, we have an extra cutting, and I know that this one grows well in the shade.
Yes.
So
it will be
the
in the
almond
shade
will
of that,
provide a
okay.
bit of shade to the plant.
Okay.
And then this is, it can be also kind of a support, so you can also prune it and help the. But anyway, this will produce mostly in this part, and this one will go higher.
Yeah.
So basically, we planted almost everything. We just miss some aromatic plants. This one you can put. We also cut the leaves like this. We can put it behind that one.
N-are nimic.
This one also, they are not cut,
Pune mâine.
but they are propagation by layering, because the raspberries is producing new shoots that have a root. Still, they didn't have so much root. So it's also good to remove as many vegetation as possible and to a bit the same.
Is that here or the other one?
Yeah, that's one. So somebody can, maybe you, that you know where they are, you do the same with all the raspberries. And then now we can start filling the last gaps with this. And I did we have other? No, I think yeah, also those. And maybe those go more there, and this one. Oh no, actually we don't have space there. You can put. I can put one sage. You put one majorana.
There are many in the pot.
Yeah, just put one. And somebody can go behind us.
Filippo! Yeah? More oregano.
Great.
Cum scot asta de aici? Cum o scot?